So this one's gonna be again about Tim Ferriss' 70 questions. And yeah, I hope this is gonna be a good one. And I'm fucking pumped to be here again. And with that being said, hello, welcome back to the next episode of the Self-Development with Tactics fucking podcast. And I just have to close my closet door as quite every single day. Well, so now it's great. And I also hope you're doing well. I'm doing fucking well. I've just been eating today something that I not get hangry again like yesterday. Yesterday was quite an I think it wasn't the best episode, of course. It really wasn't, but I think it told me something. I guess, and I've also just made some content out of it, and I'm also going to redistribute the content also on other and or various social media platforms, or I think it's actually only Instagram, I guess, but it's fine. So it just learned me something, or I learned something by that certain occasion or by that certain situation, because I was truly pissed off by the episode that I was doing yesterday, because I wanted to do everything as fast as possible and everything as just as fast as possible, and it just really stressed me out. And this is what I felt, and this is what I just have seen by the situation. And what I've also seen is that just the content that I'm then producing is not as good as it could be. And it is pissing me off as well, which is not the purpose why I'm doing this. Like, I'm not going to do this, or I'm not doing it because I want to get pissed or I want to feel bad doing it. I want to just do it to spread a positive message and because I like doing it. And, I should be a little bit more patient. But if you want to see this, there's going to be an IGTV video on Instagram, maybe today, maybe tomorrow. I'll just see when I'm going to post it. Therefore, we are actually, that's all right. So therefore, we actually go ahead with the same exact question as we have stopped in the last episode, but I've actually cut it, or I've actually kind of paused it there, because I was just, so pissed off quite that I just felt like, okay, I do not want to go through the last question, or I do not want to go through question 8, which is, what if I couldn't pitch my product directly? Even though, today I've been just trying something different, actually. I've been trying to go through the content while I was in the train, so that I do just have an overview about what I'm going to go through, which is, I guess, actually pretty great, because I think it also helps me to just read it a little bit nicer and also talk about more things, because, I just, think about just, various different things when I'm just alone, when I'm sitting there, just reading it on my own, than when I'm here and reading about it. And especially when I'm not understanding something, either it's because it may be because of the words, or it may be because of the meaning he just tries to spread, or tries to give you, or the information he tries to give you and or spread, when I'm not understanding it. It's a little bit bad then during the episode, but I guess, I'm just trying it and I see where it's going to lead me. But yeah, what I've noticed is that question 8 has quite nothing to do with the title it has. Quite. It is, it is all about, people do not like to be sold on, or they really don't like it. And I know this feeling, to be honest, because, the thing is, when somebody's hitting me up on Instagram, to 99.9% it is someone that's trying to sell me something. And most of the time it's traders. Traders just, telling me, you should just do this, you should just start trading and whatsoever. And I'm always like, no, I do not want to spend the time learning it. And I would just rather spend the time doing what I'm doing right here. And I also think it's not going to be something that's fun for me. When I'm just doing something, I'm going to do it because it's fun, or I'm just doing it because I think it's good, I guess. And I think that's, at least for me, if you're a trader, I really do not want to kind of just insult you or something. It's just not what I want to do. If it's what you want to do whole day long, just 8 hours, 16 fucking hours a day, okay, do it. If it's making you happy, just please do it. This would just then be really great. also for me to know, okay, you're doing something that's making you incredibly happy, and you're doing this all day long, and you're making this your passion. It's just amazing. Like, why should I complain about it? But it's not something for me, and I guess just I understand, and I think it also makes sense that you're trying to sell, quote unquote, your thing to somebody else, but most often it won't work, I guess, which means that, or which doesn't mean that you should not try it. I think you should definitely try it, but you should also not get pissed by people telling you, okay, I do not want to do this because this is not who I am and this is not what I want to do, the whole day long. Especially if it's involving some money in the start, actually, or when you're starting. But, whatever. And especially when you're lying. This is something that I do not understand. Why would you fucking lie about the whole situation, about your product, about the thing that you're trying to sell, to just sell it? Like, I do get it, like, capitalism is great. Yeah, I think it's also just, I'm not that kind of educated in political kind of questions. But, I assume people want to make money just no matter what or something. But I don't know. I think just legacy should also play into the decisions you're making and into the things that you're talking about. So, I don't know. I wouldn't lie just to sell some shit. Really not. But yeah, so in the end, what he has seen, or what his solution was for this kind of problem or whatsoever, is that you should just tell stories or narratives. And I truly believe that this is actually a good just tactic, or is a good way to sell things. And he actually did it this way because he wasn't quite able to promote the book, the 4-Hour Workweek, or he wasn't able, as he says, the 4-Hour Workweek, Tim Ferriss couldn't get journalists to introduce his book. So basically, I guess it's all about promotion. And what he did is that he was trying to concept stories about the concepts in the book, which means basically there were a lot more stories around the book and around things that were written down in the book, which is, at my point of view at least, a pretty great tactic. And especially if it's in a way that he was also doing, which is actually having testimonials. Like, he was also talking about, as he says there, or as the author says there after summary, he showcased success stories from the book, people who redesigned their lifestyles, which basically, for me at least, is a testimonial, and which is something incredible, because it just shows, okay, what is in this book just really works, and what is in this book just, is good, it's good stuff, and this person's just knowing what he's talking about, because he was able to impact, or to have an impact on somebody else's life, and maybe he's able to just impact your life as well, only through the book. And I think it's amazing. And, if you are on certain websites where you can just, buy some courses or buy some other shit like, educational stuff, most often you're going to find testimonials. Even though you just truly have to be conscious, or you truly have to see whether these are actually real testimonials or not, because I guess often, they are quite not as real as you think they are. But I guess, I think you should just kind of watch out on something like this. But he was also sharing, as he says there, his actual, or his own personal story on his body transformation, which is also great. And something else that he was doing is that he was actually, because there's another book which is called The 4-Hour Chef, which is here. I'm gonna mark it for you. He was also just publishing it for free on BitTorrent as an audiobook. And I think also this is amazing, because I guess a lot of people profited from that, definitely. But there's also another interesting thing that is added by the author of the summary, which is a little experiment somebody did on having statements, or having kind of reasons why you're doing something, or why you're asking something. And this time I'm going to just read it, because I thought, okay, I think it's the best way to go through it while I'm reading it, basically. So this reflects a broader psychological bias toward accepting reasons for doing things. A famous experiment showed how giving a nonsensical reason, which I assume at least nonsensical means just it doesn't make any sense, or it's just not quite a real reason for what you're doing there, could excuse your behavior. And so here is how it worked. A researcher would see someone waiting at the copy machine. The researcher would then ask the person one of the following questions. And there are now 3 versions of this question, and there is a difference. There's always a difference between 1, 2, and 3. And the third one is the one with the nonsensical question, if I remember correct. Yeah, it is. The first version is, excuse me, I have 5 pages. May I use the Xerox, I think it's Xerox machine, question mark. Version 2 would be, excuse me, I have 5 pages. May I use the Xerox machine because I'm in a rush? And the third one is, excuse me, I have 5 pages. May I use the Xerox machine because I have to make copies? So version 2 and 3 gave a reason, but version 3 gave a nonsensical reason. Everyone is there to make copies. Because the version was, excuse me, I have 5 pages. May I use the Xerox machine because I have to make copies? Like, everyone who is doing or who is just doing the work at the Xerox machine or who is using the Xerox machine, I think, is either copying or he is printing something. But in the end, everybody is copying. So it's actually nonsensical. It's like, okay, you're just giving a reason for the sake of giving a reason. I think this is the point there. Even though you're basically only giving a reason to someone for doing something, to actually justify your behavior, you're just giving a reason for the sake of giving a reason. And it works, which the data shows there. So for each version, what percentage of people would you... Yeah, you've seen it. So for each version, what percentage of people would you predict let the researcher cut in front? So here are the results. Version 1, which actually was, at my point of view at least, also reason, because he said, excuse me, I have 5 pages. May I use the Xerox machine? Well, no, there's no reason. There's actually no reason. But it got 60% of winning chance or something. Version 2, which was, excuse me, I have 5 pages. May I use the Xerox machine because I'm in a rush? Got 94%. And the last one with the nonsensical question got 93%. So it's basically just a little bit not as efficient as just the second version. Even though it is just giving a reason for the sake of giving a fucking reason, because the reason itself doesn't make any fucking sense. At least it's not just, I think it's really not justifying your behavior, or it's not actually maybe an explanation for your behavior. So stunningly, the nonsensical reason worked just as well in conviction than the other person. In convincing the other person. Granted, this effect may be enriched for a small favor like this, whereas a larger deliberate decision would be subject more scrutiny. I have to buy an aircraft carrier because we want to patrol the seas. But the general point stands. People like having reasons for acting. So Tim Ferriss couldn't promote his book directly, but people did want to share unusual stories surrounding the book, which is, I think, also just, well, I think in general, just having narratives and just having stories just works pretty fine. I'm willing to get more educated on this and just tell you more about this when I know more. But what I know is that a lot of people just use stories, and it would also totally make sense for you to just make up stories or to use stories to sell your product, to market your product, to just do your shit. Whatever you're doing, maybe just a little bit of storytelling could help you. And I guess there are also just really great articles on storytelling out there, which could definitely help you to just either begin to start telling stories or to, start telling better stories or to have better stories. I guess, at least. I assume. The 2-minute exercise there would be, where are you having a hard time being persuasive, and how can you craft a narrative that justifies your point of view? The reflection, giving reasons for things makes your pitch more effective. Want to get a raise? Don't just ask for it. Articulate your proven value to the company and compare the market rates you could achieve elsewhere. Also, tie to an emotional reason for the boss to care. And this definitely reminded me on Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People, which was one of the best books that I've ever read in my fucking entire life. Besides, I think there are actually 4 or 3 books that I always just bring up when I'm talking about my most favorite books. One of them definitely is How to Win Friends and Influence People. There's no fucking way around this. The other one is 1984, and another one as well is Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, which was also an amazing book. But I guess sometimes I'm coming up with another one, but I'm always forgetting one of them. I'm always forgetting one of those 4, I guess. It could actually be 3, but yeah. Besides that, let's talk a little bit about books, because I think, well, at my point of view, people seem to demonize all other forms of learning stuff, because everyone is talking about books, and everyone is about like, okay, you have to just read books because you need the information, you need the knowledge and whatsoever. But YouTube is also good. YouTube can give you as well a lot of fucking knowledge and a lot of fucking information, maybe even in a way better way than a book could. Because some people learn through books good, some people learn through just osmosis good, by just watching other people doing stuff. And again, some other people just, like to learn through YouTube videos, or by just, well, this might also be a form of osmosis, but they just have or want to have some visual content, something they can look like, something that's kind of explained. And yet other people like to just listen to things, or listen to somebody, like a teacher, for example, that is standing somewhere just talking about the shit that he's trying to kind of learn you. We are all individuals, and books are definitely not the only way to learn things. One of the things that I've seen actually, where books are incredibly great, is giving you a broad overview of things. And I really like this about books. And I think this is something that the internet as such cannot give you, because when you're willing to learn something, you actually have to look for it. The internet won't give you things without actually looking for it, which is not always the case with the books. Because if you're reading a book, chances are there that you're going to learn something about something else that is not actually just, or that's by the title, is not part of the book. For example, in This is Marketing from Seth Godin, he's talking about marketing and talking about advertising and all this stuff, but he's also talking about some cultural stuff, like, flares on cars. I didn't know what this was, and I didn't know that there was actually something behind it. Leather gloves, and why there actually is some cutout just on the back of your hand, which actually was there for watches, I guess. There was actually a round cutout, which you can also see nowadays as well, which is the funny thing, because it's not that necessary any longer, but it is something that's still in culture, or that's still in the, in the industry, just because it was a part of it a few years ago. And I think that's amazing. And this is something that you and I think wouldn't have learned by just reading an article. For sure, there you also have to kind of just think about various kinds of articles. So some people are maybe also going to talk about certain stuff that has nothing to do with the actual title of the thing. But just a book. A book has the ability to give you a very, very broad overview of a lot of things. And still there are other books that are giving you just a very deep view into some other things, or into just the topic it is all about. But but I actually kind of missed the point that I was willing to make. I actually wanted to say that one of the biggest parts of How to Win Friends and Influence People was talking in the other person's or other people's interest, which means you're not going to tell your boss, okay, I want to have a pay raise, or I want to just, be kind of, what is it called? I want to just level up. Let's just call it like this. Yeah. Let's just level up because I want to have it, because I want to buy myself a house, because I. It's not about you. It's about your boss. You could be like, okay, a pay raise would be great, because this would totally motivate me to work even harder and work even more. which is definitely good for the company and which is also definitely good for the boss. And this is the case. And this is also the point, that you're going to make points and you're going to explain something to your boss so that your boss is like, okay, this makes sense for me. He's giving a fuck about you, whether you're just willing to buy the new house or not. Like, okay, just some bosses definitely will kind of feel with you, but some definitely not. But I guess every one of these bosses is going to feel with you if you're being like, okay, I want to work harder, I want to work more, I want to give something to you, I want to give value to you. I think nobody would say no. I do not want to have more value from you than you're actually giving me at the moment. I do not think so. I guess, everyone that's able to get more value and get more just out of the equation is just willing to get it or willing to take it. So also tie it to an emotional reason for the boss to care. Maybe you want to work towards a down payment on your house, or you need extra savings to take care of your family member. And if you're afraid of following through, use the fear exercise step above to tease out why you're anxious. Question 9, which is actually also one of these questions that I've already gone through, which is great at my point of view, because it gives me the ability to talk more and to talk just more out of my head. Because reading is something that just in these episodes, I fairly like it, to be honest. But I do not read a lot, I guess. Sometimes I like it, especially in a train, I'll really like to read. But when I'm at home sitting there, it seems to be the case that I do not like to read. I don't actually know why it is the case, but it's what it is. But question 9 is, what if I created my own real world MBA? The thing with the MBA is, which is a degree, if you don't know, so I surely think you know, but it's the master. What is MBA? Please give me something. MBA, Master of Business Administration. He graduated from Harvard with an MBA. So Tim Ferriss actually thought like, okay, I want to have the MBA because it's going to look good on my resume. I'm developing better skills. I'm developing a better network, as he says also there, to just show you. Yeah, to develop new skills and whatsoever. The thing is with the MBA, it's costing you it would have costed him 120K. And then he thought like, that's a lot of money, and he thought like, isn't there a better way that I can just use this money and also get the same thing and also get the same value? Like, okay, I'm willing to have a better network, I'm willing to have better skills, I'm willing to have this and that and whatsoever. What he came up is actually saving 120K and packaging them into 10 to 20K packages. And then what he's going to do, or what he was, or what he has been doing with these packages, as I call them, there's nothing in the text about packages, he invested them in several companies. He took the 120K and invested it. And it seems to be like, okay, the thing was, which is something important, which I'm going to read. So importantly, Tim was prepared to lose it all, much as he would have lost the tuition to business school. This prompted him to actually take action rather than being scared. Even if his investments failed, he saw the experience and the added network as well worth the 120K. By learning from dozens of founders and investors, he created his own investment rules and made a few investments. His investments eventually panned out, making back double what he invested. Tim's viewpoint can be applied to all graduate degrees, training programs, or even college. Because the thing there is, as they also point out, the MBA could just really get to 160K. As such, the thing is, you're also going to lose a lot of opportunity cost. Because, in the time where you're just making or where you're learning for your MBAs and whatsoever, you're losing a lot of time. You're really, truly losing a lot of time, basically. So you're not basically you're not able to work as hard as you would be able if there was no MBA, or if you wouldn't just learn for the MBA. And, they calculated, or the author of the summary, I guess, also calculated that this could get up to 200k, which is, by the way, just incredible. And that's a real load. And investing this into companies could actually give you could actually give you back way more money, could double, could triple, could quadruple, whatever. But I think also the experience that you're going to make is just, first of all, something different, and there's going to be just some huge and valuable kind of experiences you're going to make, I guess. The thing is, I guess this is not for everyone. I think that not everyone is just willing to invest on their own without actually having any kind of experiences. I don't know if he had experience back then. I guess so, actually. But it for sure is not something for everyone. But the 2-minute exercise. What large educational investment are you planning to make soon? What are the goals of this investment? How much does it cost in total, including all cash, loans, and the salary you're giving up? Could you take all of this cost, totally spend it, and achieve your goals? ? The reflection. Academic degrees are the traditional structured path of learning things. But if you are self-driven and resourceful, you can exceed the benefits of the degree with the same cost. For instance, if you want to get an MFA, what's an MFA? Museum of Fine Arts. No? Master of Fine Arts. Okay, this would have been would have made sense. For instance, if you want to get an MFA in writing, this can cost 30k. You might also be giving up income of 50k, which would then be 80k, which is a huge way. For instance, you could sign up for a masterclass or for master classes with the best writer in your area, paying $500 an hour for custom feedback and mentorship. You could fund group dinners with aspiring writers as a way to network. Even $500 per dinner can help you make 10 valuable connections. You could hire an agent to shop your work around. This could push the value well beyond the cost of the MFA. Granted, in some professions, the degree is basically a prerequisite. You can't become a doctor without an MD. An MD is a Doctor of Medicine. Usually can't become an academic professor without a PhD, but you should still articulate your goals for getting the degree. If the degree isn't critical for what you want to do, then strongly consider building a different path. If you're getting a PhD to go into consulting, strongly consider becoming a consultant right away and using your extra cash to build your network and gain access to science. And that's gonna be it with the episode, but I truly think it just makes sense. The path of actually studying something, the path of actually going to school to learn something, has been a really common one, I guess, for a long period of time. But now with the internet, a lot of things change. We are able to get so much information, we're able to get so much knowledge by a click, basically, and we are able to just get really, really, really just good courses, on various platforms. I do not want to kind of just advertise them or something. Well, there are various ones. Let's actually name a few of them. Skillshare, because I always see the advertising from Skillshare, and they're also advertising some YouTubers and some creators. Skillshare, isn't Squarespace as well? I know that they're sponsoring people, but isn't there also just some kind of... But by the way, courses are definitely not something that you always have to pay for. There are just a lot of courses, also from just various universities, from good universities, I assume, and also from professors and PhDs and whatsoever, that are for free. It's cost you nothing, which is amazing. So if you're this guy, and if you're a person that is just able to learn through courses, able to learn through people telling you shit, you should consider doing this. To gain the skills, to upgrade your skills, but I guess if there's no way around your PhD or no way around your MBA or whatsoever, I think you just gotta have to do this. But yeah, this is it with the episode. And this episode has been really fucking great, I guess. So yeah, I wish you the best health, fitness, and success. And I also hope that you're going to remind yourself on how you gonna be remembered. So either you're going to be remembered as a good person or as a bad person or something in between. And you basically decide, it is totally in your hands how you are going to be remembered. So what your legacy is going to look like. But yeah, I see you. Thank you very much for listening and or watching. And I see you the next time, hopefully.